G'day YouTube, Max right here, and today we're going to look at some on-chain data, a little bit of historical perspective, because I really think by the end of this presentation, you're going to understand just exactly the incredible opportunity that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is. It is mind-blowing wealth that is going to be generated over the next little bit. And I think what I'm going to show you here today is really going to drive that home. It's going to give you the confidence to invest in cryptocurrency if you haven't yet, and take those steps. And if you already have, maybe load up on even more Bitcoin. So let's get into it. What you're looking at right now, this is just an adoption curve. This is from Alex Saunders, known as an Australian guy, actually, fellow Aussie. Got a fun YouTube channel called Nugget News, and or Nuggets News, I should say. He's just posted this one, and it's share of US households using specific technologies, all the way from 1860 to 2020. And it's got the flushing toilet and running water and cell phones and air conditioning and dryers, and you can see a whole bunch of stuff here. And he's got the thing here. It says there's no dip in adoption. And so look at all of these things. They just go vertical. Great technologies just go vertical until they have, somewhere up here between the 80 to 100% of penetration, market penetration, right? And everything here is on its way. So what's interesting is that some of them, like the flushing toilet, for example, there's one over here and there's a few here where they just start a little bit slower before they really hockey stick up. A little bit slower before they really hockey stick up. You can even see that here with this red one, which I think is cell phones. Just a little bit slower before it hockey sticks up. And what Alex has gone and done is he's gone and just posted his best representation of where we are on the cryptocurrency curve, right here on the cryptocurrency curve. And I, for one, think there's just absolutely no doubt. And I don't know if it's going to take 10 years or 20 years or 50 years or 100 years, but absolutely no doubt that crypto, unless something significantly better comes along, but versus everything else right now, cryptocurrency will end up at 100%. I don't have any doubt in that whatsoever. And I think what we're going to see is you'll see that the curves get steeper in time. Like if we pick a benchmark, let's say like 80% US household penetration. Right. Well, for whatever this green line is, what is that? A dryer? I'm sure it's not. Smartphone usage. It must be smartphone usage. Yeah. So it's this one here. Like it's very steep. This red one, I believe, is the tablet. Very, very steep. Let's see, to more than 60%. Right. Gets in there very, very steep. If you go back in time, things took a lot longer to hit that 80% mark. So the flushing toilet, all that happened in the space of like 3, 4, 5 years. If you go back here, like the very earliest one, the flushing toilet, from here to 60% penetration, I'm not even sure I can see the line, there's probably something in the lines of 80 years. If you come back here to this green line, what is this? Electric power. To get electric power in the home, let's call it 1905 to 80% penetration, we're talking 1940, right? It's like 30, 40 years to get electricity into the home. The trend I'm trying to draw your attention to is that as time goes on, adoption curves get steeper and steeper and steeper and steeper, right? These curves are just getting steeper and steeper and steeper. And I think there's an initial shaking out and understanding of what Bitcoin is, making it useful, and a little bit of education in the market versus a little bit of technological advance. Like a core protocol gets built, but we still need to build wallets. You still need Trezors, you still need exchanges, you still need all the industry around it. And so I think, it's an example, Bitcoin is an example of one of these ones that starts off somewhat flat before it goes absolutely parabolic, spastic, mental, crazy. And I think the first 10 years of Bitcoin's life, we were getting to this point and all of the things around it, the education. And I think there's every reason to believe that the next 10 to 15 years, Bitcoin goes from 7 or 8% penetration to something in the order of 80 to 100. And what that would mean to the Bitcoin price, you can't even fathom. I mean, we're talking about tens, if not, it could be $100 million per Bitcoin. It's going to be insane as well, because US penetration, nice, but what about the rest of the world? And I think this graph just really puts into perspective that we are so blessed and so early on this life-changing technology that literally the whole world is craving. It's coinciding with another huge macro trend where all of the central banks are destroying their currencies by overprinting them. And there is this technology coming in the wing, just waiting in the wings to replace all of them, which would have happened anyway, even if they didn't destroy them the way they're doing it. But they are going to destroy them with increasing speed over and over and over again. You'll just see around the world stimulus after stimulus after stimulus trying to glue the economy that they broke, trying to glue it back together. And Bitcoin's just going to come up here and say, you are now irrelevant, you're gone. Unbelievable chart, and I just really think paints the perspective. Let's go now to some on-chain data. By the way, let me know in the comments below. Do you like me? Do you feel like you're on the verge of this massive thing? See, a lot of people, you'll see the regression chart that a lot of people show, which says, Bitcoin's kind of petering out. And I have had a very different view. That's only got like two data points of real relevance, that chart. And one of them was the 2017 peak, one was the 2013 peak. And the 2017 peak, in my opinion, was significantly muted for the two big reasons. There was hard forking issues and governance issues. And it was also the rise of ethereum, the ICO, DeFi, and a whole bunch of other things. So there was a lot of things going on, in my opinion, muted the 2017 growth. I don't see any of those problems in 2021. And in fact, I see some really cool things happening in 2021, which means it's going to be bigger than ever. And I think we're going to get back on track, not to a regressive curve, maybe even to a linear one this time in the 2021 bull run. But long term, I think we're about to hockey stick up. Whether or not we see that in the next year, I'm not sure. But seeing it in the next 5 to 10 years, I am very, very confident. Let me know in the comments below if you subscribe to that or if you think I'm missing something. By the way, make sure you smash that like button and that subscribe button too. It really helps me get the channel growing. And we are still, I didn't look again, 30,000 subscribers. Let me know if we got there. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. Let's hit those 30,000 subscribers. That'll be a great milestone. Okay, next we're having a look at this chart here. So this is from a Twitter account called Bitcoin Archive. And what is pointing out here, the black line chart here is the price of Bitcoin. It's a logarithmic scale, just so you're aware. And it's the price of Bitcoin. What all these colors are, we don't care about the individual, but what the sum of all the colors are is the Bitcoin balance on exchanges in Bitcoins. And that is a linear scale. And that's over here. What it's showing was, right here in the 2017 bull market, where Bitcoin went up 20x, throughout that entire period, the amount of Bitcoin being put on the exchange was more. People were putting more Bitcoins onto the exchanges to trade them. Now, in order to sell your Bitcoin, you have to put them on the exchange to sell. Okay, so even though there was more and more Bitcoin, it was effectively a wall of Bitcoin hitting the exchanges throughout the entire 2017 bull run. However, there must have been a wall of demand soaking it up too during that period for the price to go up 20x, right? In 2021, we see something different. We see this incredible rise up in the first part of 2021, where Bitcoin goes up in the space of 5 months, it goes up 6x, 10K to 60K. Throughout that whole period, people are taking Bitcoin off the exchanges, right? They're taking it up, which means they're putting it in their HODL wallets. It's an indication that Bitcoin is now in very strong hands, and they're not going to sell no matter what. If they can bring it back on exchanges later, but at least their intention is to hold it for a very long time. And I think even showing that even better is this one. So this is kind of a similar graph. This gold line represents the top of that previous chart. So it was the Bitcoin balance on exchanges. It had this super colorful with all the different exchanges. Don't care. All we cared about was the sum of them, right? And it only went back to July of 2017. This chart is effectively the same thing. The gold line is the sum of all the Bitcoin on exchanges, still in a linear chart on the left-hand side. Bitcoin price, still in a logarithmic chart on the right-hand side. We now just have an extra year of data. And what we see is that from this period, from July of 2016 through to January of 2017, a mere 6 months, people started. Now this, I think it's important to understand. July, was it July? I'm pretty sure my memory says July 2016 is when the halving occurs. July of 2016, the halving occurs. People think, this halving thing could be a pretty big deal, and I might want to hold, because some people are aware of the 4-year cycle back then. Some people are like, maybe there's a 4-year cycle. Maybe the halving's important. Some people were predicting it. Some people weren't. Now everyone's pretty clear on the 4-year cycle, right? And we'll see that in the charts here. So for 6 months post-halving, there's money being pulled off the exchange. As a result, we get a little bit of a price pump. I mean, it causes this, right? Price is like sideways. It goes down, goes up. For that whole 6 months, price is sideways. At some point, it breaks out, and now all of a sudden, the Bitcoin supercycle starts, and there's all the FOMO, and Bitcoin's going ballistic, and it lasts for a full year. We go up 20x, and people are putting Bitcoin on the exchanges as a wall of Bitcoin selling, but it's meeting a wall of buyers all the way up until it crashes, and Bitcoin's still getting put on the exchanges after. Price goes down and down and down. Okay, let's look at this. Very, very different. There was that 6-month period of money being pulled off the exchanges, which was, I think, a contributing factor to the next 12 months of parabolic price move. In this cycle, the halving occurred on May of 2020. The market's a little bit older, a little bit wiser. The 4-year cycle secret is out. Halvings are a big deal. People start hodling their Bitcoin in anticipation. The March 2020 collapse happens because of coronavirus. From that point on, people are like, for sure, that's the bottom of this market. For sure, that is the bottom, and they start hodling. And the strong hands take their money off exchanges, and they just want to hold and ride out this bull run. Now, here's the thing. It has been going on since March of 2020. We find ourselves here last couple of days of April. So this thing has been going on for 13 months so far, and the trend is not showing any signs of slowing down. The amount of Bitcoin on exchanges available for trade has gone from 3 million Bitcoin, it says 3,000K, so I assume that's 3 million. 3 million Bitcoin down to, we find ourselves about here, down to about 2.3, 2.4 million Bitcoin on exchanges. Significant drop. And it has not stopped. The trend is still in place. And if 6 months of hodling caused this parabolic rise, then what is 13 months and counting going to cause in 2021? Right? Bitcoin is looking at a severe price shortage. And this is just absolutely fascinating to watch. I think this is so bullish. And this is just a huge, I really do not see, like this time we have a wall of interest coming. The huge price rises, it's in all the news, a wall of institutional money coming from so many different sources telling us that. And at the same time, money coming off of the exchanges. This time, over 2017, the wall of supply was met with a wall of demand. In 2021, it looks like the wall of demand is going to be met with a shortage of supply. And it just says unbelievably good things about the potential price for Bitcoin. And I think this little comparison is a fun one too. So on this day, April 2017, comparing the bull markets, we have Bitcoin as a price of 1,300. In 2021, it's a price of 54,000. In 2017, that represented being only 1.35 times above the previous all-time high. This time, it represents being 2.73 times the previous all-time high. This is huge, guys. Like, there's a lot of reasons to say 2021 is not going to continue this regression that a lot of people are talking about. There's a lot of reasons to say that the 2021 bull market is going to be significantly better than the 2021 market, which puts the price of Bitcoin at 300,000, 500,000, 700,000, a million? Who knows what we're going to get to in this cycle? But I am predicting it's going to be absolutely epic. Which brings me to a very interesting question. Let's just take a quick look at the Bitcoin price here. I've been talking a lot about it, making a lot of videos the last few days in this pattern. This is the hourly pattern, so this only represents about 7 or 8 days of trading, right? And people are worried. Like I've made a lot of trading videos, and I sometimes remember to do this, sometimes I don't. But you really have to separate yourself. Are you a trader or are you an investor? These are two different things. I've made the vast majority of my money being an investor and not a trader. When I make trading videos, what I want to convey is that for most of you are just investors, and so you don't want to pay too much attention to the trading videos. When Bitcoin is 200,000, 400,000, 600,000, a million, you're not going to give a damn if you bought it at 54 or 49. It doesn't matter. Just buy the damn thing if you are an investor. And please know the difference. If you have any doubt whatsoever, if you're an investor or a trader, you're an investor. If you try and trade, you will get eaten alive and you will lose money. There are very, very skilled people who have been doing this for years and years and years. And in every trade, there's a winner and a loser. And if you don't have very good reason to believe that you're going to be the winner, you're better than all the other traders out there, you're probably going to be the loser. You will make I saw a tweet or an email or something somewhere recently. Someone said they were trading in and out, and they went back and did the math, and they would have made like 5 times more money if they just bought Bitcoin and went to sleep. Instead, what they did was they invested hours upon hours a day trying to trade, go up and back, and and they ended up making less money. They wasted a whole bunch of time. They learned a lot, and they may one day become a trader, so in that way it's valuable. But they would have just made way more money if they just bought Bitcoin. So if you're an investor, if you're not a trader, don't try and time the market. Don't be special. Just go ahead and buy and hold have the idea of a year, 2 years, 5 years, the longer, the better. But just get in and buy it. Because I always get the emails, should I buy, should I not? And I think it's best summed up with this story. Not too long ago, in fact, right here at the peak, I had a conversation, it was within a day or two, of 2 people. And one person I told to sell Bitcoin and one person I told to buy Bitcoin. And of course, I'm always a manager of myself. And on those days, I neither bought nor sold. And you're like, what do you mean? How could you give 2 people 2 different advice? The price of Bitcoin and whether I think it's going up or whether I think it's going down is a relatively small portion of the assessment of whether one should buy or sell or change their position or make a trade. Let me give you the 2 examples of the 2 people. One person did not have any Bitcoin. My advice to anybody who does not have any Bitcoin is always, I think you should buy some Bitcoin. Always go and buy some Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin can go like that and snap up to $100,000 in a handful of weeks. And once it starts going, you don't want to be the one who's chasing the top and you don't want to buy out of FOMO. And you'll talk yourself out of it and you want, 70, it's I should. And you'll finally buy it at 100 and the following day it'll turn around and crash back down to 70 and you'll be all angry at yourself. If you don't have any Bitcoin, you can't afford not to have Bitcoin. If you don't have any Bitcoin, the advice is always go and buy Bitcoin. At the same time, there was another person, someone I knew who had been in Bitcoin. I knew their financial situation very well. They'd been in Bitcoin for a very long time, and it was like 90% of their portfolio. And at the same time, they were having financial issues. They very much just bought the Bitcoin exactly as you should do, put it in a closet, and didn't think about it again for years, right? The proverbial closet. And so they were 90%, the 95% of their wealth was in crypto, and they were very, very well. Their wealth had exploded because they had it for a long time. But they'd been having some trouble outside of crypto. And so right now, they were like, listen, I think Bitcoin's going up and blah, 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 but should I sell? And I was like, well, listen, what's most important, you've got a lot of crypto. What's most important is that you be a strong hand. If you're in a situation, because Bitcoin can do crazy shit. It can just drop down 20% at the blink of an eye. It can go up 100% at the blink of an eye. It can drop down 50%, 80%. It can do all kinds of crazy shit. You need to be a strong hand. Because what you don't want to do is have to sell all your Bitcoin in some horrific scenario. Right? So what you could do right now, you could solve your money problems by selling a relatively small portion of your Bitcoin, pay off all these debts you've accrued, sort yourself out, and become a very strong hand with still a very large Bitcoin portfolio. What you don't want to have happen is if there's this huge macro correction, real estate's down, stocks are down, Bitcoin gets smashed by 50%, and now you've got to sell your Bitcoin at $20,000 a Bitcoin, or $30,000 a Bitcoin, or $40,000 a Bitcoin. We're at an all-time high. It's a good price. I think we're going to, by the end of this year, I think it's going to be up $300,000-$400,000. It would be great to hold. But you've got to protect yourself against the downside of some catastrophic event hitting the market and you have not having to lose everything else, but also losing a huge portion of your Bitcoin portfolio. So sell a little bit, become a strong hand again, and then you don't have to think about Bitcoin again for another 5 years. So on the same day, almost within a day or two, I told one person to buy Bitcoin, I told one person to sell Bitcoin. So whenever I do the Q&As, people ask me, what should I do? I can never tell you with the amount of info. I know both of those people's situations very well. Via the chats that we have on YouTube, I can't, or email, I can't possibly answer it for you. But the only thing I can answer on here is whether I think the price is going up or I think the price is going down. But that's not the be-all, end-all of what's going to, whether or not you should be buying or selling crypto at any given point. Really want to stress that. So guys, I think that was a really productive video. Let me know in the comments below, are you a strong hand or are you a weak hand? If something happens in the economy, are you good where you don't have to sell your Bitcoin for 6 months, 12 months? You're a strong hand. If you're on a knife's edge, you're a weak hand. And take actions to correct it. You might need to sell a little bit. Step 2, what I want to hear below is these charts here. Are they exciting you as much as I'm excited by them? This one here absolutely blows my mind. It took a year of a wall of selling pressure to finish off this all-time high, to counteract that year of buying pressure that came into the market, right? We haven't even started any amount of time of a wall of selling Bitcoin coming in to sell to the wall of buying coming in as well. This to me says we are on for an absolutely epic 2021. Let me know in the comments below. Am I missing something? Or am I hitting the nail on the head and you are jumping out of your skin with excitement? Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Let's see if we can hit those 2,000 shares. And do me a favor, please, try something new. Send this video to someone that you haven't seen before. This video and the last video are not like, charting. It's like interesting for the next 2 minutes. These videos are when people see them and they really understand what's happening, then these are the videos that kind of turn someone who's not interested in Bitcoin into someone who is a diehard fan of Bitcoin. So do yourself a favor and find some people to share this with, either on Twitter or via email. Send it to some people and really help me grow that channel. Let's smash those 30,000 subscribers, and I will see you guys soon. Take care.